Addiction, depression, recovery. We do heal. Here at Addiction, Depression, Recovery, we present information and opinions with the goal of educating as well as creating an open, judgment-free discussion about addiction and substance abuse treatment. Substance abuse treatment is an evolving and a relatively young discipline, and the information we share is subject to change as research continues and treatment evolves. We do our best to provide information from every viewpoint in the interest of remaining fair and impartial and encouraging open discussion. Our choice to share these opinions does not represent an endorsement of or agreement with these opinions, nor does it represent a recommendation for your needs. Any opinion or information shared by us or our guests is representative only of that individual's opinion and perspective. We encourage our listeners to learn everything they can and keep an open mind regarding the abundance of perspectives and opinions available, and we do not intend to be viewed as the ultimate authority on the topics we present. Recommendations, information, or opinions provided by us and our guests are accepted or rejected at the discretion of our listeners, and Addiction, Depression, Recovery Unit staff and guests are not liable for their success or failure. We are not a substitute for professional help, and we encourage anyone suffering from substance use-related problems to seek professional, individualized treatment to address their personal struggles. Addiction treatment is not a one-size-fits-all solution, and something that represents effective treatment for one person may not work for others. Stories and explanations of treatment practices are provided in the interest of being informative and demystifying the process of treatment, and we make no promise regarding the efficacy of those treatments or programs for any one individual. Additionally, we do not recommend that anyone attempt any substance use treatment practices after hearing them explained here. These treatment practices require extensive training and practice in order to be effective, and should not be attempted by anyone who is not professionally certified and experienced in providing them. Specific names, locations, or details and stories shared may be changed to protect the confidentiality and privacy of individuals mentioned. Stay tuned until the end of the episode to find out how to contact us with questions or concerns, to ask for advice, or to share your story. What is addiction?
I'm not hurting anyone else. Why do I have to stop?
Should alcohol be illegal?
Do you have to hit rock bottom to get help?
What is addiction like? I don't even know where to start.
Are addicts bad people?
Does everyone who uses drugs become addicted? What is the worst
Is
drug?
nicotine a
Why
drug?
can't I mix
Why does
Xanax
addiction
with
I pay my
alcohol?
bills
It's
and
none
go
of
to
your
work every
business.
day.
There are
I can
lots of
stop
choices
anytime I want to
What makes
drink.
addiction different for adults from teenagers so glamorous?
Should marijuana
What
be
makes
legal?
some people know lies when others don't? How do I talk to
Tell
them?
me what to do.
Movies make
I
people
gotta
feel
lay down my
like
heart.
how does
If
someone
men
use
and
it?
women
Why
both
can't
become addicted.
How do
I
I
make
know
some
the
drugs.
word?
I don't know how to
How
do
is
it.
addiction treated? It's not
I
easy.
don't know that. I can't talk to them. How
How
common
does
is addiction? Help me. So many questions, but who has the answers? Is there a right answer? Where can we find an instruction manual for dealing with addiction? How do you help someone, especially if they don't seem to want the help? If only there was a place you could get clear, step-by-step instructions for navigating this messy situation. If only you could guarantee the outcome. Well, you can't. Maybe that's not what you want to hear, but it's the truth. You can't guarantee the outcome. There are no guarantees, there's no easy way out, there's no one right answer. I'm not going to tell you that I have all the answers, because I don't. I'm not going to offer you a grand solution to everyone's problems, because that doesn't exist. And it probably never will. Addiction is messy. It's painful, it's difficult, and I won't promise you something I can't deliver, so I'll be honest instead. Some people get better, and some don't. Some people get better quickly, and others take years. I can't promise you any different. Here's what I can promise you. I will provide information that can be helpful to the right person, and I will hope that the right person will hear it at the right time. I will give you my honest opinion, and I won't sugarcoat things or spare anyone's feelings in doing so. But I will speak with compassion and be as kind as I can be, while staying honest. If I don't know the answer to a question, I will say so. And I will work to learn more on that topic and return to it when I feel I can do so honestly and accurately. I will never claim to be the ultimate authority or to have all the answers. I will provide every side of every argument when there are multiple opinions on a topic, and I will respect your intelligence and your right to come to your own conclusions. I feel like it's important to be clear and upfront about my intentions. I can't heal everyone who's damaged. I won't have all the answers, and I can't guarantee the outcome for anyone. But I do believe that people can get better. I know because I did it, because I know people who have done it, because I've helped people do it. And sometimes all it takes is the right person saying the right thing for the process of change to begin. Sometimes all it takes is for someone to just realize that they aren't alone. Maybe I can help provide that to someone. If that's the case for even one person, then this will have been worth it. So, in the interest of being as clear and upfront as I can, what are my goals? I want to work to eliminate the stigma that exists towards talking openly about addiction and substance use treatment. I want people to be able to talk to loved ones about their problems and seek professional help and treatment without feeling embarrassed or ashamed or feeling that they will be judged or beaten down. I want to provide a platform for people to share their stories publicly without shame or judgment so that others can see that they are not alone. I want to create an open dialogue and provide meaningful, substantive, interesting conversations about these topics to educate and to invite deeper thought. I want to reduce negative or inaccurate information, which is too common in conversations about addiction and substance use, and instead I hope to present practical, useful, accurate information. I want to demystify the process of addiction treatment so people understand what to expect if they do seek help, and hopefully encourage more people to enter treatment. I want more people to seek help when they need it, and I want more help to be available regardless of someone's income or location. I would love to be a light in the darkness for anyone who can't find their way. So, who am I? My name is Aaron, and I'm an addict in recovery. I've been sober for over 6 years now, and I've worked in substance abuse treatment for the last 2 years. I've worked with adolescents and adults, I've worked inside and outside of the criminal justice system, and I've worked in inpatient and outpatient treatment. I am still taking classes to better educate myself and become certified at a higher level as a counselor. I've had the benefit of learning from a variety of other professionals in multiple workplaces. I have experience in every aspect of addiction treatment as well as lived experience with addiction, and I'm very passionate about increasing access to treatment for those in need as well as publicly available, accurate information about substance use treatment and addiction in general. I want to provide answers when there are answers to be had, but ultimately, I'm not as interested in providing answers as I am in asking questions. We can learn more by asking than by telling. We gain more from listening than from speaking. I've got a lot of friends I'd like to talk to about their experiences. Friends that work as counselors or therapists. Friends that have experience with addiction. Friends that have a lot of questions and want to learn more. But that's for another day. For today, I want to discuss something that is central to my view of addiction and addiction treatment, a thought I will return to often as we discuss the difficult process of trying to have a positive impact on someone struggling with addiction. To do so, I need to start with a little bit of background information about substance use treatment. When someone enters treatment, one of the first things that needs to be done is to assess them. We need to get a sense of them as a person to understand not only their substance use, but beyond that to understand their life as a whole. One of the most commonly used assessments is called the ASAM, from the American Society of Addiction Medicine. I'll return to this assessment in a later episode, but for now let's just give a very brief overview of the assessment. The ASAM looks at 6 dimensions of a person's life, from substance use history to physical and mental health concerns to how motivated are they to change. For this conversation, we only need to focus on the 6th and final dimension that the ASAM wants information on. This dimension is called recovery and living environment. It asks questions about the client's living situation, whether they have a home, whether that home is comfortable and safe, things like that. It also asks questions about the people in the client's life. It looks into their family, their social circle, their coworkers, the people this client spends their time around. Do these people support the client's recovery? Do they drink or use drugs? Would they be willing to stop doing so when they're around the client? Do they have a close group of friends or family who care about them? Are they isolated or are they supported? The purpose of the assessment is ultimately to determine the client's chances of success or failure without help, so that we can recommend what level of care they need. If they're not likely to succeed on their own, they need a lot more help, and therefore a higher level of treatment is required if they're going to be successful. They need to enter an inpatient or residential treatment facility. If they're likely to be successful without a lot of help, less support is required, and therefore a lower level of treatment is advised. Weekly outpatient treatment may be sufficient in this case. You never want to provide too high a level of care, but we'll talk about that in more detail another time. So basically, the higher the level of risk in each dimension of the assessment, the higher level of care that will be recommended for the client. But the final dimension, recovery and living environment, has a lot of importance in determining the level of care that we will recommend. If someone has a network of close friends and family who are supportive of their recovery and are eager to help them through this difficult time as they work towards sobriety, then their odds of success are much higher regardless of how severe their substance use might be. If someone does not have supportive people in their life, they're going to have a much harder time, especially early in the process of recovery. Even if their substance use is less severe, their isolation will make relapse more likely, and their road to recovery will be a more treacherous one. This dimension of their life has as much weight in our consideration of what level of care they require as their substance use history or mental health diagnosis. What I'm trying to say is that the importance of someone's relationships cannot be overstated when discussing recovery from substance use disorders. Too frequently, those with addictions are isolated. Yes, they do self-isolate and withdraw from those who would want them to stop using, but they are also left isolated by those who cut ties with them. It's understandable. Dealing with a loved one's addiction is hard. It's painful, and it makes people feel powerless. But what I need you to understand is that whether or not someone has meaningful connections with people who care about them is one of the most important factors in determining success or failure in recovery. Too often, an addicted person will hear the same familiar statements. I can't be a part of your life anymore. I can't watch you do this. Call me when you're clean. Until you get help, I don't want to talk to you. Friends and family have a hard time seeing someone they love continue to make the wrong choices, and because they don't know what to do, they leave. They disconnect. These actions from a loved one leave an addict to fight their battles alone against an enemy they aren't strong enough to beat. I'm not judging those who make the difficult decision to cut someone from their life who is struggling with substance use. It's an impossibly difficult situation for many people, and this kind of decision is usually only made after years of pain, fear, stress, worry, anger, shame. At the end of the day, each of us has to take care of ourselves, and no one could claim that the decision to cut ties with someone they care about is an easy one. If you are listening and you are in that situation, I want you to know that I understand, and I'm not saying any of this to add to your guilt or worry. But if you can stay with them, or if you can go back to them, if you can let them know that although you don't support their behavior, you still support them, if you can let them know that you still love them even as you hate their actions, if you can keep them from feeling alone, if you can make them feel loved and tell them that they are worth their time, and help them to believe they are capable of something better, that can make all the difference in the world. I've got more information to share on this topic, and there will be many episodes in the future where I can give more detailed advice on how to support a loved one with an addiction, but for now I encourage you to consider a change in perspective. If you are struggling with substance use and addiction yourself, or if you know someone who is struggling, try thinking of this. It's not you against them. It's both of you against the problem. The enemy is not the person who is struggling. The enemy is the addiction that has stolen them from you. The enemy is not those friends and family who want you to be well. The enemy is the choices that have placed a wall between you and them. Because the opposite of addiction is not sobriety. The opposite of addiction is connection. Picture a man digging a hole. When he starts, he's standing on the same ground as everyone else. No one quite understands why he's digging the hole, but they shrug and go about their lives. He's not hurting anyone, he's not hurting himself, so if he likes to dig a hole, let him do it. I mean, who are they to tell him how to live his life? The hole gets a little deeper. Friends and family who come to speak with him stand on a small pile of dirt that's built up around the hole, and their shoes get dirty. He's careful to toss dirt away from those who come to visit him. He has to crane his neck upward a bit to see them, but he can still hear them. They are beginning to get worried that the hole will get too deep. They start to tell him to be careful, but he likes digging his hole and there's no real danger, so no one really speaks up loudly enough to change anything. The hole keeps growing. He can only see people who lean over the edge and look down on him. He throws dirt up and out of the hole as well as he can, but some of the dirt falls down on him each time, and his work has slowed down now. People are worried. They tell him to climb out while he still can. They reach their hands down to help him. They throw down a rope, even as the dirt he throws upwards hits them and dirties their face and clothes. But he doesn't listen. The hole is his entire world now. He hit a water pipe, he plugged it with dirt and rocks and roots, and he kept digging. There is danger because the plumbing could burst and flood the hole at any moment, but he doesn't think about that. His life is about digging now. The voices of those above him are muted and easy to ignore. He hasn't really been faced with any real danger yet, so the words that do reach him fall flat. In his mind, there is no reason to stop. The hole has gotten too deep. He hit another pipe and it was a sewage pipe. He plugged that one up too, and he kept digging. There was some wiring that could have electrocuted him. He just dug around it and it hangs above him now. He has come across 2 snakes and 1 very angry mole, but he threw them up and out of the hole and kept going. If he looked up, he would see silhouettes framed against the sky. People who care, looking down, shouting, crying. They can't reach him now, and their voices are faint. He doesn't look up. He doesn't hear them. He is consumed with his downward progress, and it is all he is able to see. If he did look up, he would see the silhouettes starting to disappear. People walking away. People giving up. The same people who have been shouting, reaching, warning, wanting to help, but they are tired and dirty, and staying where they are has only gotten them dirtier the longer they've stayed. They are sad, but they can't reach him now. They tell themselves that if he wanted help, he could have asked for it, could have taken hold of the rope, taken their hands, listened to their warnings. They tell themselves that if he wants to leave his hole, he can call for help. Someone will come along. It's his life and his choices put him down there. It's not their problem, and they've done enough. And in a way, they're right. Or at least they're not wrong. He made choices that put him down in that hole, and they tried to help for a long time without it having any effect. But let's say that he does look up. Let's say that he does decide he needs help. He looks up and he sees all the dangers he's dug past and survived. He sees how far down he's dug, and he realizes he can't get out on his own anymore. And worst of all, he sees that there's no one left at the top waiting for him. There's a whole world full of people out there, but none of them can help him. None are near the hole because they know of the dangers that live down there. He calls out, but no one can hear him. He tries to scramble up the wall, but it crumbles under his fingers and he slides back down immediately, dirtier than ever. His shovel is worn and ready to break. The ground is unstable beneath his feet, and the sewage pipe has begun to leak. He's hungry, and he's tired, and he's ready to leave. He doesn't want to dig anymore. The obsession hasn't done him any good, and he's lost interest in trying to keep going. But there is no way up, and if he stops, he will do nothing but waste away all alone down here. And so, he starts to dig again. The work is slower now. He's sore, and he has to hold the shovel together carefully so it doesn't fall apart. He digs now only because he doesn't know what else to do. There is no joy in his work. There is no passion. It is his prison, and he knows it. But he also knows that stopping means death. He tries digging sideways instead of down. He scrapes at the walls, and the earth above him crashes down on his head. He can't dig upward to get out, no matter how hard he tries. Those who do come by the hole and look down only see a madman who is still digging his way to damnation, pressing on with his obsession, blind to the fate he's barreling towards. But they don't see how often he looks up, hoping to see someone. They don't hear how often he calls out for help. They don't see when he throws down the shovel and cries, alone. A whole world just out of reach. A world he used to belong to, a world he has alienated himself from, a world that wanted to help him when he could have been helped. A world he doesn't know how to get back to anymore. This story has 2 endings. There is one ending in which someone is at the top of that hole when he looks up. In this ending, they can help him out of the hole. He's dirty and tired, and he smells like sewage, and he isn't sure what to do if he can't dig. But he's safe for now, and he has a chance to learn from this, a chance to make different choices next time. He never would have left that hole on his own, not because he didn't want to, but because he didn't know how. But luckily, someone was there, and they got him out and gave him the opportunity to recover. The second ending is the one where no one is there. In this ending, he never sees anyone waiting above him. He grows bitter. Where is everyone gone? They've given up on him. It's his own fault, but maybe he blames them too. Maybe that's easier for him. His shovel breaks and he pokes the broken shaft at the walls and screams his agony, and it doesn't help. Maybe the pipe bursts and he drowns in his hole because he doesn't have the strength to stay afloat. Maybe an animal gets in and he is too tired to defend himself. Maybe he knows that he won't make it out and he collapses the walls on purpose. Just lays down and lets the dirt cover him. Maybe he grabs hold of the wires with both hands and goes up in smoke. There is no escape here. There is only an ending, whether one of his own choosing or one that falls upon him. There must be an ending. It must end. And it does. Consider this story. Consider the endings. It's easy to say that someone has put themselves in a bad situation. It's easy to say that it's their own fault. It's easy to think that they can reach out for help when they're ready, and to leave them in their hole alone until they're ready to ask for a hand. But remember that the hole they live in is real to them. Reaching out for help is impossibly hard. Admitting you have a problem you can't handle on your own is embarrassing. It feels like admitting defeat. It feels like weakness. And if everyone in your life leaves you, if there's no one at the top when you call out, then asking for help isn't just difficult. It's impossible. One of the most powerful things you can do is to stay. Staying doesn't mean supporting bad decisions. You can tell them you refuse to be around them while they're using. You can, and you absolutely should, set boundaries for what you will or will not tolerate. And some healthy distance is perfectly all right. The danger is in making permanent decisions. Don't draw lines in the sand you can't undraw. Don't tell them you refuse to speak with them or be a part of their life at all. At least, not if you still want to help them get out of their hole. The hard part here is that, as I said way back at the beginning, some people get better and some don't. And you have the right, no, the responsibility to take care of yourself and to remove yourself from a situation that's unhealthy or that's dangerous for you. It's easy to say that you need to stay in their life, at least intellectually, logically. But if someone truly isn't going to get better and you just have to move on with your life, who could ever judge you for that? Especially if their behavior and their choices have hurt you, put you in danger, damaged your life as well as theirs. It's absolutely true that they made their own decisions after all, and it's not your responsibility to fix them if they don't even want your help. There are no easy answers here. You can't guarantee the outcome. There are no guarantees. There's no easy way out. There's no one right answer. I am not going to tell you that I have all the answers, because I don't. I am not going to offer you a grand solution to everyone's problems, because that doesn't exist, and it probably never will. None of this is meant to be an answer. It's a question. I want to provide answers when there are answers to be had, but I'm more interested in asking questions. We can learn more by asking than by telling. We gain more from listening than from speaking. Everyone has to decide what is right for them, and you will have to decide what's right for you. But for what it's worth, here are my closing thoughts on this topic. If you are struggling with addiction, I want you to think about this. Asking for help is not weakness. Making easy choices for instant gratification was weakness. Avoiding your problems was weakness. The addiction, that is weakness. What you have now is an opportunity to show strength. The strength to stand up and admit that your situation is out of your control. The strength to look directly at the weakness in your past and face your decisions. The strength to admit that you cannot fix this alone and that you're ready to do what it takes to make things better. The strength to be vulnerable. Have the strength to do the hard work it takes to make a change. Have the strength to take help that's available because you can't do this on your own. Swallow your pride because your addiction has taken more of your pride away than asking for help ever could. Somewhere, someone cares about you. Someone will help you, even if it's someone you haven't met yet. There's no good time to do this, so just do it right now. Walk into a hospital and tell them you need help. Tell them your truth and ask where you can go for help. Be honest with them. More importantly, be honest with yourself. Go to your first AA meeting. Call a rehab clinic. Tell someone that loves you that you're finally ready. I believe in you. If you are worried about someone you know who is struggling, then think about this. Are you ready for a hard truth? It's hard, but it's important. As much as it might hurt to hear this, your love is not enough to save them. If it was, they would be saved already. Love is powerful and love will help, but it will not heal them, not on its own. I want you to understand that your role is not to fix them. They are not a broken radiator or a leaky faucet, and you do not have the toolbox that is needed to fix any part of this situation. Your role in life is to take care of yourself first. Following that, your role is to stay if you can. Stay connected to them however you can. Stay connected on your terms. Don't support their behavior, but don't abandon them if you can avoid it. If you can stay even just a tiny bit, then do it. Maybe staying means you talk to them on the phone once a month and tell them you care and you want them to get help. Maybe it means a letter or an email from time to time. Maybe you can barely stay. Maybe you don't have much of yourself left to give. But whatever staying means for you, do it if you can. It's the one most powerful thing you can do because it puts you in a position to get them to people who are trained in providing effective treatment for a disease that requires treatment like any other disease. If you're willing, there are a few other roles you can take on. Your role can also be to be consistent. If you tell them that you will not be around them or talk to them while they're using, you have to mean it. If you tell them that you will not support their habit, you will not give them money or a place to stay or bail them out of jail, you have to mean it. But there's another side to that coin that gets missed. If you tell them that you will always be there for them if they want help, you better mean that too. That you will always love them, you better mean that too. They could reach out for help one day and change their mind the next. You should be ready to support their desire for change whenever it appears and jump on any opportunity to get them help when they ask for it. If you make them a promise, you'd better mean it. Your consistent responses and behavior will give them the consistency that's missing from the rest of their lives. If you're willing, your role could also be to model good behavior. If someone has a drinking problem and you drink while you're around them, your words won't carry much weight with them. If you are dishonest in your conversations with them, you won't be taken seriously if you call out their dishonesty. You shouldn't ask them to do anything you aren't willing to do yourself. And this isn't because you want some kind of moral high ground that will let you look down your nose at them. It's because the best way to influence someone else's behavior is to lead by example. And most importantly of all, it's because maintaining your values and behaving in alignment with those values is your responsibility, and you can't let someone else's bad behavior change that. The key word here is influence. Too often people get caught up in the idea of control. They want to control someone's behavior, someone's choices, someone's life, but ultimately we don't get to control anyone or anything besides ourselves. What we can do is influence. We can support, we can inspire, we can threaten and intimidate. We can set a good example or a bad example. We can manipulate, we can reinforce, we can punish and reward. There are so many ways to influence others, and if we let go of the idea of control and focus on being in control of ourselves, the world opens up for us. So live according to your values, make choices you can be proud of, and show them the behavior you prefer to see from them through the behavior you choose for yourself. I believe in you. I believe you can stay true to yourself in a difficult situation, and I believe that you can choose to be better than people who have treated you badly. I believe you are strong enough and wise enough to forgive, to let go of anger, and let love and hope guide you. Change is tough. Change can be frightening, and it can be hard to push through that fear, so I'll leave you with a quote to consider for today from the artist Georgia O'Keeffe, who said, "I've been absolutely terrified every moment of my life, and I've never let it keep me from doing a single thing I wanted to do." With that in mind, I hope that today you can work through your fear and take the first step in your journey, whatever that journey might be. Because a journey of 1,000 miles must always begin with just one step. What do you think about all this? When have you found it hard to stay? When has someone left that you wished had stuck around? What hole have you dug for yourself or watched someone else dig? What hole have you gotten out of? When is it time to leave, and how long can you stay when someone you love just keeps digging? I'd love to hear from you. Find Addiction Depression Recovery on YouTube and hopefully soon on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Look for Addiction Depression Recovery on social media. I'm still setting everything up, so I'll have more information soon. I'd love to continue the conversation and hear your opinions. And if there's something you want to learn more about, or if you have a tough situation you want advice on, then I'll try to do whatever I can to provide whatever help I'm able to. Thank you for listening. I hope this helped. I know it helped me. Until next time, this has been Addiction, Depression, Recovery. We do heal.